Shalom Yasha. It's Brother Mapathak, right? That'd be key, but in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, right? And through the spirit, it's like every time I come right here and bring out the word, the birds, they just come out and start singing, man. Right? Like the birds come out and hear the words of the Lord. Right? But anyway, this video is gonna be about reading for yourself, right? Studying for yourself. You don't wanna just listen to somebody bring out the word and break down the word and then you just regurgitate what you heard the next teacher say. You actually have to go into the scriptures and see whether those things are so. You understand? And I heard this, it's something I constantly meditate on, but I recently heard the elder apostle Tahara of GMS actually kind of bring this out, right? He kind of said, you would have a lot of brothers that know a lot of precepts, right? But if you was to ask them, if they know a lot of precepts and they call a lot of precepts, but if you was to ask them what's going on in that chapter, or read up 3 verses up and tell me what that verse is talking about, a lot of them wouldn't really know, right? Because they just write down precepts and they take it from their favorite teacher, and then they go out and regurgitate and break it down the same way they heard their favorite teacher bring it out, right? And they don't really know the actual context, right? So this is why I wanted to go into this video through the spirit. Right, and I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. That's all praise to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and the name of his only begotten Son, who the world will ignorantly call Jesus Christ, but we know him as Yahweh Shai the righteous, right? And I want to bring this out first in Acts 17 and verse 11, right? And this is the book of Acts, chapter 17 and verse 11, right? And it reads, "These were more noble." I'm going to start from 10, right? And it says, "And the brethren immediately sent away Paul and Silas by night into Berea, who coming thither went into the synagogue of the Jews," right? Verse 11 is the point. "And these were more noble than those in Thessalonica," right? So the saints in Berea were more noble than those in Thessalonica, right? And it's going to tell us why. It says, "And that they received the word with all readiness of mind," right? So they received the word with readiness of mind, right? "And searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so." And that's why they were more noble, right? Because not only did they receive the word with readiness of mind, but they also searched the scriptures daily to see whether those things were so. So they didn't just take a man's word for it, right? A man kind of go into the scriptures, then they break it down the way they want to break it down, and they just believe what they said. No, man, they kind of opened up the scriptures, searched the scriptures, and seen whether those things were so. And that's mighty, right? That's why they were called noble, because that's what we have to do as well. We can't just listen to our favorite teacher, right? You might have a favorite teacher in Israel, and you just believe everything he say. You understand? He's not Yahweh Shai. You have to put that brother on trial, man. You have to go into the scriptures. Is this true? Does this make sense? Right? You kind of put the precepts together. Okay, that makes sense. Hey, sometimes they might bring out something that it probably won't make sense to you, man. Right? But you don't want to just regurgitate what you heard, right? Because you just trusting in man. This is what he said, so it's the truth. Hey, that's off. You understand? You have to get into these scriptures and study for yourself, right? The Lord said, a fool believes every tale. Salaki believes every word. Let me see if I can bring that out through the spirit. So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 14 to verse 15, and it reads, Salaki, it said the simple, right? It says, "The simple believeth every word," right? "But the prudent man looketh well to his going." So the simple man, he's going to believe every word that come out of a man's mouth. But a prudent man, a cautious, a wise man, he's going to look well to his goings. So that prudent man, he's going to get into the scriptures like those in Berea. He's going to get into the scriptures and see whether those things are so. He's not going to just take man's word for it. That's why it's important to study for yourself. Be not ignorant of anything in a great or small matter. You have to get in here and study to show yourself approved. Don't just regurgitate what you heard the next man say. You understand? It's important to actually get into the scriptures and read, right? The Lord said, "Blessed is he that readeth," right? The Lord said, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read," right? So let's go to Isaiah. Let's get that in Isaiah 34:16. All right? So it's important to read for yourself in this thing, right? The more you read, you'll realize a lot of times, when you was taking certain precepts out of context or listening to other teachers take certain precepts out of context, it's not even really talking about what they're saying it's talking about, right? So let's bring this out. So that's why it's important to read and pray that the Lord rests the spirit of wisdom upon you, right? And the Lord guides you through the spirit, right? Because ultimately that's going to be your teacher, right? You have to, of course, the Lord uses men to teach as well. But if that spirit isn't resting upon you, you're not going to really get it. It's all about really having the spirit of the Lord, right? So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 34 and verse 16, and it reads, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read." Right? So that's plain. The Lord says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read." It says, "No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it have commanded, and his spirit it have gathered them." Right? But the point is, hey, you have to seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, man. You can't just be stealing precepts. I don't even want to really call it stealing precepts, but just taking precepts from another brother and just breaking it down the exact same way you heard him break it down. And you don't even really know if that's what it's talking about, right? Some things are plain, right? Some things are just plain upon tables, but there's other things that actually have contextual meaning, right? Like you literally have to know the context of what it's talking about, right? To really have understanding thereof, right? So let's go into Revelation 1 and 3, the classic, right? So this is the book of Revelation. And this is red letter. This is Yahushua speaking. And it reads, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 3. And it reads, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy." Right? So, Yahweh, Salaki, this is not red letter. Salaki, forgive me. But it says, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand." So once again, it says, "Blessed is he that readeth." You're blessed when you read. Because, for example, if we never read, we would have continued thinking that so-called Jesus Christ, whose real name is Yahushua, is a so-called white man, right? If we never picked up the Bible for ourselves and started to read, we would have never understood that, hey, Yahushua is a black man, right? Yahushua is a so-called black man. He's an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. He looks like me. He has woolly hair like me, right? But a lot of our people, they didn't read for themselves, so they fell for the deception. They believe he was a damn nasty Edomite, right? So-called white man with dog stringy hair, man, right? But when you pick up the Bible and read, now certain things, hey, are revealed unto you. That's why you're blessed when you read, right? When we read, we learn about our forefathers. We learn about our actual history. Hey, and thou shalt not lie. I remember being, I was probably like in 3rd or 4th grade, and I remember the teacher teaching a lesson about slavery, right? And they were talking about the slave ships and things like that. And I remember, I never asked the teacher, but I remember being in my own mind, just kind of meditating on it. And I thought, like, damn, what was our history before slavery? And that question always ran for me for my whole life, right? I used to do a lot of Google searching and things like that. Like, who was my people before slavery? You understand? And then when I used to hear about the African history, because they used to always try to lead us to African history. They always wanted us to think that we were Hamites. I used to be like, man, this kind of don't make sense, man. It don't really add up, right? But yeah, man, that's why you're blessed when you read, man, because you could get now we got our history, man. So we got to open up this book and read it now. Right, let's go to 1 Timothy 4. Right, so the whole point is, just to reiterate, the whole point of the lesson is to read for yourself, man. Get into the scriptures. Allow Yahushua to sup with you. Let me bring that out real fast before we get that in 1 Timothy. Right, I've been bringing this out a lot through the Spirit. This Revelation 3 and verse 20, and it reads, this red letter is Yahushua speaking. It says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." And that door is a representation of your mind, right? So Yahushua is constantly knocking and trying to get inside your heart, man, your mind. And it says, "If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me." In the spirit, Yahushua could dwell within you, in Salakia, dwell within your heart and sup with you and give you the understanding of the scriptures. You understand? So that's plain. And that's why it's a beautiful thing to actually sit down and read and allow Yahushua to sup with you, right? Before you read, you should really pray that the Lord rest the spirit upon you, right? To give you the understanding thereof, to allow you to retain the things that you read, to allow you to apply the things that you read into your life, man, right? So this is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 13, and it reads, "Till I come, give attendance to reading," right? So that's plain. Paul was telling Timothy to give attendance into reading, right? To exhortation and to doctrine, right? And through the Spirit, hey, that's what we have to do. We have to give attendance unto reading, man, to exhortation and to the doctrine, right? So that's what brothers strive to do. Brothers strive to read as much as possible. Brothers strive to exhort the brother and the sisters in his truth and his faith as much as possible, man. That's why brothers do the videos, man. You understand? Right? And brothers give attendance unto doctrine, man. Constantly studying, constantly reading. You understand? So let's go to Sirach, right? And this kind of landed me back off what I was saying earlier about you have brothers. A lot of times they pull a lot of precepts and things like that, which is not a bad thing, right? Because like I said, some precepts are plain upon tables, but a lot of times you would just copy a certain teacher, and that teacher might know the actual context, but he's just breaking it down in the spirit, right? But you're taking how he's breaking it down right through the spirit, and then you try to break it down the same way, right? But this Sirach chapter 5 and verse 15, right? And you would try to break it down the same way, being ignorant of the actual context, right? And like Apostle Tahar was saying, the elder Apostle Tahar, how he was saying basically, if a Christian came up to you and said, but that's talking about this, go four scriptures up, and now you don't really even know the context, the Christian going to confound you out there, right? So you can't be ignorant of anything, right? Especially not in the words of the Lord, right? If you're a teacher of the word, you definitely can't be ignorant of things in the words of the Lord, right? And you're not going to know the whole Bible overnight, but that's why it takes constant reading, right? Constant studying. So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 5 and verse 15, and it reads, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or small. And the scriptures is a great matter, you understand? So you don't really want to be ignorant when it comes to the things that you're teaching, you understand? You want to understand the context of what you're teaching. You want to understand the spirit that the prophet or the apostle was in that you're reading about, right? You have to know these things. You want to know the time zone that they were in, right? It all helps. Go to Wisdom of Solomon 6. Right? So this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 11, and it reads, I'm going to start from 10, right? It says, for they that keep holiness holily shall be judged holy, and they that have learned such things shall find what to answer. And you're going to know how to answer a man if you kind of get into the scriptures. You should find what to answer. But this is the point I wanted as well, verse 11, wherefore set your affection upon my words, right? So we should be setting our affection upon the words of the Lord. And it says, desire them. And we got to desire this word. So we should always be wanting to read, man. Right? And it says, and ye shall be instructed, man. So we have to set our affection upon this word and desire this word, constantly studying so we can rightly divide the word, right? You want to be able to rightly divide this word as a teacher of the word, right? You have to be able to rightly divide the word as a man of the Lord, man, right? Knowing what's going on in there, man. Knowing how to go precept upon precept and giving the understanding thereof. Let's go to 2 Timothy, all right? Let's go to the classic, 2 Timothy 2 and 15, right? Because it's plain, all right? Bear with me, right? So this is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 15, and it reads, study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, right? That's plain. You have to study in this thing, right? You have to read. You have to go over the precepts. You have to watch the videos. You have to study in this thing, right? It says, study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, and that's how you're going to show yourself approved unto the Most High. A workman that needeth not to be ashamed. And when you're well studied, you have no need to be ashamed. You're going to be bold and confident, right? You're going to be bold as a lion out there when you're bringing out the word, right? You're going to bring out the word with authority, man, right? When you're actually confident in what you're bringing out, right? You actually believe the things that you're reading, right? Believe the things that you're teaching, right? And it says, study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, right? And that's how you're going to rightly divide the word of truth, right? You have to actually study, right? It's kind of like on a worldly level, hey, because when you actually study, you're going to be more confident with your teachings. And on a worldly level, hey, it's like you're a damn quarterback, right? The more you practice, you throwing the ball. Now when you get in the game, hey, you're going to be confident in the way you're throwing it because you practice a lot, man. You actually understand how to throw that football. And that's the same way when you're teaching. You kind of go on the videos, right? You kind of more confidence with your teaching because you actually study. When you go on the highways and byways, you're going to be more confident with what you're bringing out because you actually study it, man. Right? So let's go to Sirach 20. So we have to constantly study in this thing. Have to constantly read. Right? We don't want to just be regurgitating and repeating what we hear another brother say, man. Right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 20 and verse 24, and it reads, a lie is a foul blot in a man, yet it is continually in the mouth of the untaught. And if you're untaught in this thing, you're unlearned, you're gonna be breaking down scriptures wrong. You're gonna be giving the wrong understanding and And you're going to be lying to the people. And the Lord said, thou shalt not lie. You understand? So that's why it says, I'm going to read it again. A lie is a foul blot in a man, and yet it is continually in the mouth of the untaught. And when you're untaught and you're kind of misrepresenting the words of the Lord, hey, you're going off, man. Right? You're lying to the people. Right? So let's go to, stay in Sirach. Let's go to Sirach 18. Right? So this is Sirach 18 and verse 19. It reads, learn before thou speak. That's plain, man. You have to learn before you speak. That's why I always tell brothers not to rush to be a teacher, right? I'll go to James 3:1 and show how, hey, you're going to have the greater condemnation. Don't rush to be a teacher because you think it's something that look cool to do, right? Because you want to look mighty or whatever it may be. Hey, that's not what this thing is about. This ministry is not about looking mighty and being the next mighty teacher, man. You understand? You got to serve the Lord with sincerity and truth, right? So Salakia, it says, learn before thou speak. So that's why you want to learn before you speak. Before you get out there and try to teach the next brother, right? Try to teach your damn auntie, right? Hey, the elder Yahweh, he always tell a story about how he rushed to try to teach his family members. And I believe it was his aunt. I believe he says his aunt. And his aunt kind of confounded him out there, man. She kind of cut him up, man. He had to go back to the drawing board. That's why you want to learn before you speak, right? I always kept that in my mind. Like, okay, let me stop being so hasty to try to debate people. Because when I first came in the truth, man, hey, the Lord put a spirit on me. I was trying to debate everybody, man, right? But after I heard the elder say that, I'm like, yeah, maybe he's right. I have to study more, right, before I think about debating the next brother or debating the next sister. You understand? Right? So the Lord said in Sirach 18 and verse 19, learn before thou speak and use physic or ever thou be sick. But the only point I really wanted from that is that, hey, the Lord said, learn before thou speak, man. Right? The way you're going to learn is through studying, through reading. You understand? Through being taught. Right? But as you're being taught, you're not just taking what that man said, the way that man broke down the scriptures, right? And just saying, okay, he broke that down right. I believe that, right? Because this is my favorite teacher, right? Or this is a mighty teacher. He gets a lot of views, so I believe what he's saying. Hey, that's off, man. I don't give a damn how many views a man get, man. I'm opening up the Bible, right? And I'm gonna seek this thing out myself, man. Right through the Spirit. Right? You have to try words, right? I believe that. Let me see if I can find this precept real fast. Lord willing, I can find it, right? You have to try words, man. You have to put everything on trial. Right? Lord willing, I can find this precept. I kind of can't find it. Shalaki, bear with me. I want to find this precept. I believe it's 34. Khan, this is what I want. Khan, so this is the book of Job, chapter 34 and verse 3, and it reads, for the ear trieth words as the mouth tasteth meat. So when you hearing these different teachings and understandings, you have to try their words. You don't just take it and say that's truth. Hey, the ear trieth words as the mouth tasteth meat, right? So you might hear that, you might hear a certain breakdown, kind of taste it, right? Your ear kind of trying it. That kind of sound right. I could roll with that, right? You go into the scriptures, that makes sense. Hey, another breakdown you might hear like, nah, he going off. That don't sound right to me. That don't sound right. That don't sit right with my spirit. Right? You go into the scriptures, yeah, I don't see that. Hey, and that's how you got to be in this thing. You got to put everything on trial, man. Right? That's a mighty precept. I'm going to read that again. It says, for the ear trieth words as the mouth tasted meat, man. You have to put everything on trial, man. Right? Don't just be believing the words of men. Right? Get into the scriptures, pray on it, right? And then you get the understanding thereof. Right? But you definitely have to open the book for yourself, man. Don't just be regurgitating breakdowns. That's the main thing. That's the main point. And those in Berea, they were called noble because of that. Because they didn't just hear Paul and Paul and Silas and say, oh, I'm believing it because Paul said it. I'm believing it because Silas said it. No, they was in the scriptures searching daily whether those things were so, man. Right? And that's mighty. And the Lord accounted that in the scriptures because that was mighty. Right? Everything that was written aforetime was written for our learning. Right? So it's the book of Proverbs chapter 5 and verse 19. And it reads, let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, man. That's mighty. This is talking about wisdom. I'm going to get verse 1 just to show what it's talking about. Proverbs 5 and 1. Salaki, it says, my son, attend unto my wisdom and bow thine ear to my understanding. So in this context, it's talking about wisdom. So verse 19 again, it says, let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. So you're supposed to be ravished with wisdom. I mean, you constantly in the scriptures, man. You're supposed to be ravished with this thing, man. Because, hey, the words of the Most High God, that is wisdom, right? So always be ravished, man. Right? Always be kind of getting in this thing, man. Right? I'm going to get another one. Sirach 1, just to show, to prove that, right? So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 1 and verse 5, and it reads, the word of the Most High, so like it said, the word of God Most High is the fountain of wisdom, right? So the word is the wisdom. It's the fountain of wisdom, right? And you have to always be ravished with wisdom. Always in the word. That's what that means. Always be in here, man. Right? And it says, and her ways are everlasting commandments, right? So you have to always be in this word. You have to always be seeking the truth. You have to be searching the scriptures daily, not just taking, hey, you talking about Paul, man, right? And we know Paul was dealing with the, so like the Most High God, through Yahweh Shai, he was dealing with Paul on a high level. And yet they still said, hey, man, we gonna search the scriptures daily to see whether those things are so, man. We're not gonna just listen to Paul's words. That's mighty, man. How much more of these, us today, right? How much more me, right? When I teach the word, I expect everybody who watching these videos to go and see whether these things are so, man. That's what it's all about. Don't just take my word for it. You understand? You got to get into these scriptures and study yourself and show yourself approved, man. Right? So I'm going to read that again and close out. I'm going to read this again and close out in Acts 17. Right? So this is the book of Acts chapter 17 and verse 11. And it reads, these were more noble than those in Thessalonica, and that they have received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so, man. So they searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so. They didn't care that it was Paul teaching it. They didn't care that it was Barnabas teaching it, man. They said, I'm going to go into the scriptures myself and see if what y'all telling is the truth, to see if it makes sense, right? And Lord willing, brothers and sisters got the understanding thereof, right? Lord willing, this was edifying through the Spirit, right? I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Continue to read, continue to pray, continue to fast, continue to study, continue to exhort the next brother and the next sister to continue in the faith, continue to love your brothers and sisters in this thing, continue to be merciful to your brothers and sisters in this thing, right? Continue to endure, man, because this thing is all about endurance, man. So Lord willing, everybody watching this video endures unto the end, right? I love y'all, Yasha Allah, and Shalom.